Today, I want to talk about belonging. I think it is one of the deepest human desires that we have to feel seen, to feel accepted, to feel at home. And for a very long time, I thought belonging meant finding a place where other people would accept me. And like many people, my struggle with belonging began very early. Because in school, I felt known. I knew who I was. I had a place. I had a lot of people who loved and accepted me for who I was. And then I went to college, and suddenly I was one among the many. The identity I had become comfortable with seemed to disappear overnight. And somewhere during those years, I started searching for where I fit, searching for where I belonged. But I think in that search, what became even stronger was that I was getting lost. And this became even more evident when I got married. Coming from an intercultural background, there was this unspoken pressure to adapt, to learn the new norms, to understand the expectations, and to fit in quickly and not to stand out as different. And later, I experienced it again in leadership roles that I played, because leadership has a very funny way of exposing this challenge, which is like you don't always get to choose who you surround yourself with, and you work with the people who are just there, right? And in many of those spaces, I found myself asking the same question: how do I belong here? And looking back now, I realized that I often answered that question by editing myself. I hid parts of who I was, my ambitions, my opinions, my differences, my beliefs, and sometimes even my sense of humor. Because I'm an easy laugh, and people who know me know this about me, that the smallest things can make me break into laughter. But I controlled even that. Not because anyone explicitly asked me to, but because I believed that belonging required adjustment and that fitting in was the price of acceptance, and the cost that was greater than I realized. It cost me my authenticity and my peace. And perhaps most importantly, it cost me my ability to be grateful. Because when you're constantly focused on what makes you different or inadequate, it becomes very difficult to appreciate what already is. After all, come to think of it, how can you feel grateful and inadequate at the same time? And yet, the most surprising thing I've learned about belonging is this: that it was never about the people, and it was never about the place. Home was never the place. Home was me. Because every time I felt truly at home in my life, it had very little to do with where I was, and everything to do with how I feel about myself. The extent to which I felt authentic was probably directly proportional to the extent to which I felt at home. And the more I allowed myself to be me, the more I felt like I belonged. The less I edited myself, the more peace I felt. And eventually, I realized something that changed everything. I knew I belonged when I was okay with me. Not when everyone agreed with me, not when everyone understood me, not when everyone accepted me. Just when I was okay with me. And that helped me understand the difference between fitting in and belonging. Fitting in is about adapting yourself to suit the environment, and belonging is about carrying yourself into an environment and remaining whole. And maybe that's why belonging feels so different, because it has very little to do with finding the right people, the right role, the right relationship, or the right room. It is the quiet contentment, actually, that comes from knowing you're enough exactly as you are. It is the peace of not needing every room to understand you, not needing every person to choose you, and not needing every place to feel like home. Because once you've found your home within yourself, you carry it everywhere. And for years, I thought belonging was about finding a place where everyone accepted me. But perhaps it was about finally becoming a place where I accepted myself. Because I think the moment you stop leaving yourself behind, you realize something very beautiful, that you belonged all along.